Real Country 1430 AM and 107.3 FM WRDN. Good Monday morning. I'm Brian Winnikins, and we have a new monthly feature on the last full week of the month, and that is with Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. We feature one of our dairy farm families here in western Wisconsin. Again, thank you to Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin for supporting this feature. And it's all about to learn a little bit about our dairy farm family, friends, and neighbors, and some of the things they do on the farm. And they do a lot more than you might believe than just milking cows. And I'm with Don Weiss from Weiss Family Farms, just outside of Durand. And Don, thanks for joining us. Well, first, the first interview that I always like to do for these is let's learn a little bit about the history of the farm. How long has the farm been here?
The farm's been in here since 1881 when my great-great-grandfather came over and bought this original 80 acres. And in time, he bought another 80 acres, and it just progresses as time goes. And I'm the fifth generation. My boys, Noah and Nathan, are sixth generations, and we actually have Nathan's oldest boy that feeds calves. So we have the seventh generation on farm. Yeah, pretty cool.
That's awesome. So 1884? 1881. Oh, wow, isn't that like right around the time Charles Ingalls was leaving, saying too many people were here in Pepin County? Remember that's a little house on the prairie. So did he just do crops? A lot. But before dairy became king, wheat was kind of king in Wisconsin.
As far as I know, it was crops and for cows. It was about and I think it was back then. It was diversification. They had chickens, they had pigs. I think they were just trying to feed their family is what it was about. But they still had to make money to pay the mortgage if there was a mortgage to be paid at that time. I don't know. Again, I don't, there's stories that roll around. I actually have the deed when my grandfather bought it from my great-great-grandfather. It kind of skipped a generation because my great-grandfather actually bought his own farm at some point along the line there. But, it's kind of neat when you look at that deed. The deed talks about, 4 cows to purchase this thing, 200 pounds of pork every year, 2 dozen eggs every week, 30 bushels of oats, and, so many cords of wood. That's how he bought this farm, and it was for the rest of my great-great-grandfather's life. That's how my grandfather paid for this. And it's kind of neat. There was more to it, but I don't think there was any money exchange whatsoever. Yeah.
Wow. So as a kid, obviously things kind of changed as time went on, but what was it like for you as a kid here?
Well, it's probably no different than now. You had to work. I tell the story that, my dad said, you get up in the morning, you don't feel good, I'm tired. Maybe when I was in my prime age or years or whatever, maybe drank too much or whatever. But and, Dad, you say, Dad, I don't feel good. And Dad says, I don't care. Go out and do your chores. If you don't feel better by the time you're done with doing chores, you can stay in the house, but get out there and do your chores. But it was a lot smaller then, and it was, I don't know, was it simple? I don't know, maybe it was tougher almost. I don't know, it was different. Now I think, I never thought about that question, but yeah, it was a good life, I tell the kids, that, going to Eau Claire was non-existent. Going to Durand, probably not. And I'd ask my mom and dad when they were going someplace, I said, where are you guys going? See a man about a horse. Basically saying, none of your business.
I like that, see a man about a horse. So now when did you take over the farm?
Brother and I basically started taking over over the farm in probably the early 80s, and probably Dad totally backed away in 85. So, that's when Dan and I just started running with it, bought some more land, and and just kept going. And it's, I had to do a history thing here for ABS here a few years ago, and it's like, well, wow, how did we get here? It's kind of weird if you don't. It just happens, And my wife always says, she said, I married a man that I was hoping we'd only milk 30 cows. I said, well, honey, that isn't going to happen in this world nowadays. I said, and did I plan on milking this many cows? No, but it just happened. It just kept progressing, and we've, I think the boys will say it too, that we do cows well, and that's what we concentrate on.
Talking with Don Weiss with Weiss Family Farms this morning. Don, one of the big things as well, your two sons are now on the farm. So now instead of it being one family or you and your brother, we're adding 3 more families on. And like you say, milking 30 cows to support 4 families, I don't know how that's going to work. So is that also part of the reason why the farm started to get a little bit bigger?
Yeah, well, and when the boys started, and I should back up a little bit, because when the boys came onto the scene or graduated college and stuff like that, I ended up buying my brother out. So that was 14 years ago. Yeah, 2010. Had to buy him out because we're going in different directions, and I think now it was a good thing. But it's, I don't know, dairy farming for us has been a good life. I mean, we seem to make enough money. We don't get rich. I mean, we don't take extravagant wages, but we have enough. I mean, it's been good. I mean, it's been a really good life. As the farm gets bigger, it makes it easier. And it makes it easier to hire people so that we all can get away. Like today, Nathan is his wife's family goes up north right around this time of year, and it allows that he can go do that, and we all do it, and you need to. I mean, I got to think back. The money is important, but just time away is important. I think when Dan and I were farming, a day off was, you got your cows milked on Sunday morning, and you went to church. You maybe went and got groceries. Maybe went out to eat, and you're back by night chores. And that was our day off. Thank God it's gotten better but if I had to do it over, I think we'd still probably do what we did.
Plus now you have grandchildren here on the farm, and that's got to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. It's tremendous. We have 4 grandchildren in Madison, and from our daughters, and we got 2 little boys there that are, well, I just shouldn't say that. So I got 2 little boys and 2 little girls, but the oldest girl is a little over 1, and every time they come, we have to do skid steer rides. We have to do loader rides, and usually the boys are a little bit older, so they're willing to get out and let somebody else ride. The little girl, the last time, she wasn't real happy about that.
Well, and all she has to do is go, Grandpa, I want to go on another ride, and you just fold like a cheap suit. Let's admit it.
Well, exactly. You have to. I mean, they melt your heart. They melt your heart. Can't get any better than that.
We're talking with Don Weiss this morning, and we're going to continue our conversation with Don here later on in the week because not only really, Don says they milk cows, and that's what they do really well, but this, in some respects, is also a research farm. There's all kinds of different other research projects going on to not only protect the soil and the water, but even potentially help the cows as well. And we're going to talk about some of those here coming up later on this week. Again, thank you to Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. They are our sponsor of our monthly spotlights on our dairy farm families here in western Wisconsin on WRDN.